Good day, and once again, you're welcome to another edition of the National Agenda. And today on the show, we are discussing Ghana's educational curriculum, and we'll look at some educational policies. But I have a special guest in the studio today who is going to help us delve deep and analyze the issues I have stated earlier. For now, my name is Samuel Ofobi-Banfo. Stick and stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. And once again, this is the National Agenda. Let me go straight and introduce to you my guest. And he's a very special person to me and to the educational fraternity. So let me go straight to him. He is Mr. Franklin Ni Okante Ajete. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And for my viewers, just by way of informing you, he is an educational consultant. He has taught the British curriculum in Nigeria and in the United Kingdom.
United Kingdom,
yes. Yeah. I beg your pardon, in the United Kingdom. And so today it's going to be...
In Ghana.
In Ghana, yes. Today is going to be a very important and key conversation. And we hope that by the end of our conversation today, policymakers will be informed. Anyway, sir, let me come straight to you. Your initial thoughts on Ghana's educational policies that we have currently.
So let me take you back.
Okay.
Hello, viewers. So I worked as a teacher in London. I am trained as a teacher. But before then, I'd gone to the UK to study MBA International Business. So I didn't plan to be a teacher. So I would say I bumped into it and I fell in love with it. And working many years as a teacher in London, after my training, I came to understand education on a different perspective, and what I said to myself is, if my teachers taught me this way, I think I would have done better. At my from primary to secondary school.
So hold on a bit. Sorry I had to come through that way. When did you discover that if your teachers had taught you this way, it would have been better?
When I went to University of London to study education, PGCE, Postgraduate Certificate in Education. That's when I realized, if they taught us this way, we would have done really well, because failure wasn't an option. There were different pathways, different learning approaches, teaching approaches that definitely, and different support and interventions were in place.
Okay.
So you find a strong system in place that tracks you, how your performance is and how they can support you to do well. So I worked many years in London as a teacher, then became a deputy head. And then I went on one course called Investing in Diversity at the Institute of Education. And I said to myself, I think it's about time for me to come back to Africa and, support teachers or give back to Africa. I wasn't really thinking about Ghana per se. I was thinking about Africa. Like Kwame Nkrumah style, So I got a job in Nigeria, in Abuja, as a principal, as a head teacher. I took up that job. I worked in Nigeria for I think about 5 years, left back to London, and then came to Ghana to do training for teachers. I do subsidized training for teachers. And that's when I came into contact with British International School.
Okay, but before we go into that British conversation, let me find out, if you say subsidized training for teachers, what was that actually about?
So it means that if I'm going to be charging 1,000 cedis, I will charge probably 100 cedis.
Okay.
So
and what was the motive behind that?
Well, the motive behind it was just me trying to give back to teachers, support teachers, because I have an organization called, it's an empowerment organization called Project Know Thyself.
All right.
So Project Know Thyself empowers young people, and I feel Ghana has been through turbulent times, still going through it, and I feel to help young ones, I need to support teachers first, because teachers help to build economy, because they're the ones that are teaching the children. become doctors, lawyers, and politicians. And if you want to do a mind transformation, how people think, how people do things, then we need to do with the teachers. We need to support the teachers. We need to train the teachers for them to have their mind transformed first before they can go and transform children's mind, and or not even transform, but change their approach, so that when the children grow up, they have a particular mindset that suits 21st century teaching and learning, or 21st century approaches. So that's how I came to do that training. I mean, there are other things I do, not just for teachers, but teachers were my main, aim, to support them. So I came into contact with British International School, and I got a job with them to work as a principal for early years, primary and secondary. So that's when I came to work in Ghana and started understanding Ghana's system. Now, even though the school is a British curriculum school and is Cambridge accredited, so they write the Cambridge exams, they don't write WAEC.
Okay.
I still realize that everything is exam focused. So it's all about exams. Did you pass? What grade did you get? That kind of thing. But it's not about enjoyment of education and the pathway that you want to take, and how that prepares you for your future, what you want to do. Then I got the opportunity to work in another international school, but this one is a GES school.
Okay.
It's a private school, but they run the GES curriculum. And they also run Pearson, and they run the Cambridge. So the whole primary is Pearson. Then secondary has two pathways. One is GES and one is Cambridge.
Okay, so let me quickly find out. Let's try and this platform is a platform where we try to educate our listeners and our viewers as well. So probably take us through what the Pearson curriculum is. Okay,
so Pearson, Cambridge, all emanates the British curriculum, the UK national curriculum. Okay. So in the UK, we know Pearson, because Pearson is more like an examination body.
Okay.
And Cambridge is a university, and they write books to support the UK national curriculum. But then also they've got exams like checkpoints, IGCSE, A-level, for students who want to come and study in the UK, or other European countries.
Okay.
And in doing that, they realize that, students struggle, so there's a need for them to put a curriculum together, for school. So they started with the A-level and the IGCSE, then it went down to checkpoint year 9 and checkpoint year 6, Then they built a whole curriculum around it where schools buy it and schools follow it. It's similar to Pearson. Pearson is also it's a UK curriculum, but they also have a style, but they're all similar because it all comes from the UK national curriculum. So schools decide. In fact, there's another one called Oxford International Curriculum as well. It's also from the UK national curriculum, but they all have their niche and have their styles, So, but in Ghana we have GS, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's it.
Now these curriculums run in African countries or abroad, not within the UK. In the UK, everybody goes with the UK national curriculum.
Okay.
Even though we can have a school curriculum where we can enrich it and add other things to it to give us our authenticity, our uniqueness, it's still UK national curriculum. We have certain statutory...
Let me find out, sir. Why is it that, in the UK, that was what everybody was doing? And after knowing why, what I want to find out is that was there room for other curriculum to be introduced to the people in UK?
So the UK national curriculum has statutory and non-statutory. So the statutory is what you must do, okay. Which is the skills for the core subjects: English, mathematics, and science. The content, because the UK curriculum is designed for the British people.
Okay.
Do you get it? When we say British people, not necessarily English.
Okay.
Because English are the white people, but British, like I'm British as well. So anybody born in the UK or anybody who has British citizenship is British. So they kind of put the curriculum around their culture and heritage, around the industries, their workforce, so that when you finish school,
you can easily be incorporated. So,
into the
it
system.
kind of looks as though their system is built to enable their student
fantastic
enter the corporate world
yes
as soon as possible.
So the gap between academia and industry is not too wide.
But the case is different here in Ghana.
So with the British curriculum, you can still you can enrich it with different things. That makes school curriculum.
Okay.
So in Ghana they call it British curriculum, but in the UK it's the UK national curriculum.
Okay.
And in that national curriculum we have statutory what you have to do, and non-statutory what you can play around with and add for creativity and innovative sake. Do you understand? So it's all in there, but there are some key things that kind of guide teaching and learning. Which is the approaches to teaching and learning, the pedagogies.
Yeah.
And those pedagogies vary from school to school, because of creativity. And we've got some African teachers who come in with ideas, different ways of teaching. And it's fun as long as it's creative and the children can learn and remember and understand and gain mastery, then it's fine. But the UK national curriculum guides all the schools.
All right, so let me quickly find out on the issue of what is happening in the UK with regards to curriculum and the Ghanaian curriculum.
Yeah.
I want us to compare and contrast
and
look at how it affects students who go through these curriculums.
Yeah. So what I tried to do when I went to work in a school, I don't want to mention the school's name, they have two pathways, and this is me. The teachers who teach the Cambridge curriculum are the same teachers who teach the GS curriculum, preparing children for WAEC exams and preparing children for the IGCSE Cambridge exams. Okay. So this is me, consultant one, going to train them. Now I realized that the approach to teaching and learning and some of the pedagogies and understanding how to teach these children is totally different from the WAEC. The teacher said to me, "Sir, it's not going to work. If you give us the Cambridge style, it's not going to work for our children. They are going to fail." And I said, how? Teaching and learning has evolved. How would they fail? WAEC is WAEC. I mean, at the end of the day, GS curriculum was also built on the same way as principle as the UK national curriculum. It's got a bit of not a bit, but it's around our culture, our heritage.
There are certain similarities.
Our industry, so the same kind of system. So why? But then I realized that the exam that the children are going to write has not transformed to the way the GS curriculum is transforming and reforming.
We've seen a lot of reforms in the educational curriculum.
Yes.
But yet the examination council has not changed their style.
Lately, somebody told me, there's a bit of a change. But still, because for instance, in mathematics, you gain mastery and you can have different approach and get your answer as long as it makes sense. In the WAEC, you need to follow like a systematic approach, step by step. And even though you got the answer right and some stages correct, because you didn't bring that particular stage, the 2 mark or 3 mark is off. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, so it's like I have even seen in instances where they mark the steps.
Yes.
So somebody could get the steps correct and get the final answer wrong, and
yes.
so end some point.
But that makes sense more than my answers are correct, some steps are correct because I missed that particular step. So it kind of teaches children or teaches us Ghanaians to go through the long routes rather than a smarter way of doing things. Because you have to go through these steps all the time. For many years, we are going through those steps. But could we do it differently?
I believe so.
You can do it differently. I can do this different. I can do things in a different, as long as it makes sense, as long as it's effective and it gives, the end product. But then the exam is such that it doesn't teach you to be creative. So you have to memorize, and give definitions.
So on the point of creativity, is it a matter of the exams the students are expected to write that cripples the student, or the curriculum does not really have space for creativity?
Well, I won't say the curriculum hasn't got space for creativity. I think the exam and the time duration is such that you have to memorize a lot of things.
Right.
If you want to play around understanding, you will understand. But if you don't bring those key vocabulary, those key sentences or definitions, you're not getting the mark. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So it kind of forces students to memorize, teachers to teach them to memorize. You know, however, in working in the school, I also came up with I've decided to teach in the classroom and see how best I can teach in a way that children will memorize and still gain understanding.
Okay.
You know, and it had to take somebody who's experienced like me to do that.
So let's go into what exactly you did. We are interested because it worked. We want to know some of the things that you did. Probably that could inform our policymakers so that we pick some of these things, you know, and effect them in our schools.
I think policymakers are well informed about critical thinking, different approaches to learning, the pedagogies. They are well informed, they've read. The point is, between the curriculum, that's the GES curriculum, and the classroom, there's a big gap.
And
for teachers' understanding of how to implement the curriculum, that the curriculum is just a guide, you know, and cohorts are different. That's one particular class for this year will be different from another class for next year. So timetables are not static. The timetables doesn't have to be the same. So if this cohort, you realize that they are weak in mathematics, their English is strong, you may have to do more mathematics. So you need to change the timetable to suit, because it's project management. The curriculum is a project. So you need to manage it in different ways. You can't say this is the timetable and it's periods and it's 30 minutes, it's 5 minutes.
But we
consistently,
we don't
all
have
the
that
time.
in Ghana.
But that's where the problem is. The problem is not the curriculum itself. The problem is the implementation of the curriculum. How long we train the teachers for. We do a big campaign, awareness, and train the teachers over a period of time. It stops. But in the UK, every week, we've got training at school, which we call it in-service training.
Okay.
Every week is going on. And every month, there are central trainings where different councils, you know, so schools within the same borough, you know, we will go to a particular place and we have consultants coming to do training for us, taking us through the practical aspect, the skills, understanding the curriculum, then pedagogy, different topics.
Because, say, I sometimes ask myself, who trains these teachers? Because after training school, like the teacher training colleges, if they are fortunate enough, for some reasons, they may attend universities and earn some degrees in education. But beyond that, I always ask, who supervises who, especially our teachers?
Okay. So in the UK, you must have a degree before you can teach. And, you know, I had a master's. I had a degree from Ghana. I had a master's in the UK. In teaching, I was classified as an unqualified, highly unqualified teacher.
And why was that? Because with a master's degree, you should have that
you see,
gain in this country.
No, because you see, you can have a doctorate or a master's in mathematics, but it doesn't make you a good maths teacher. You see, the teaching in itself has strategies. And if you don't have those strategies and ways in teaching different cohorts, different people at different times, you will not be able to I won't say pass on information, but you will not be able to get these children to where they should be.
Okay.
So you can have all the subject knowledge, but you won't be a good teacher.
So what does it take an individual to be a good teacher?
So it takes a lot.
It
It takes a lot to be a good teacher. It takes one passion. You know, you need to have the passion, not love for children per se. We all love children. So it's not about, oh, I love children, so I want to be a teacher. Not really. It's about having the passion to learn how to learn. To teach children to learn how to learn. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So that's one. It's about having the passion to read, to want to read, to want to learn, because it's ongoing and it's not something that what you've learned from university, that's it. You know, you need to understand how teaching and learning has evolved as well. Then you also need to understand character building. You need to understand growth mindset. You need to understand positive thinking. You know, you need to understand ways that the brain works and how the brain grows. You know, so that yesterday I was in a meeting at a particular school, and the teacher said, and the child is very troublesome, so sometimes she has to pinch the child. I was like, oops, you can't do that. This teacher is not well trained and doesn't understand the profession in which she finds herself.
I understand where you're coming from, but the point is that in our Ghanaian setting, sometimes by way of socialization, in fact, the school is an agent of socialization, but we have not been able to decouple the school from the home as an agent of socialization. So sometimes you say ubiaba yobiba. So when a child is doing something that is wrong, just like he would do to her child, he or she is likely to do the same thing to that student.
So the obiaba yobiba is the same in the UK as well. Obiaba yobiba, nipebiaye unia, that kind of thing, meaning that you have to treat people in a certain way, okay, according to the UN,
the standards that
exist. Okay. Or the country standards. Okay. So there are laws. And you must follow the laws. So Obiaba Yobiba doesn't mean that my own child, I can just lift my hand and slap them left, right, and center, kick them and say I'm training them. No, because health-wise is not right. You understand? So there are rights. Children have rights. Human beings have rights. And it is within those rights we put behavior policies together in schools to help them. Understanding how the brain works, that a child who is less than 7 years hasn't got their frontal lobe formed yet. So how are you expecting them to think like you? And we have so many adults who are leaders who are not even thinking right. How do you expect a child in JHS to think right? So we're teaching them how to think. We're teaching them how to behave. So behavior is seen also like mathematics, like English, what we teach you.
If I get it right, what you are driving at is that we must be taught how to think. Even in
that is what it is. Would you believe that many years back when I finished sixth form and I didn't pass my A-level, I was working in a school in Ghana here as a teacher, but an unqualified teacher, the owner of the school asked me, so what's your next step? I'm like, next step? Oh, I'm working here as a teacher. He said, no, you can't carry on working here as a teacher. You need to have a degree. So I'm like, oh, I've failed my A-level 3 times. He said, oh, so what? Do it again. So I'm like, hey, I can do it again. And it's nobody's problem. I can do it again. But I said, but I haven't got the money. Because I didn't want to go back and ask my father. I was so embarrassed that for the 3rd time I failed. And she said, but I pay you salary. And I was like, hey, they pay me salary, okay. He said, you can do extra tuition too now. I wasn't thinking that way. I didn't even think that I can save money. And there's so many young people around in today's world that can't even see that money, that gift that was given to them, they could actually put it aside. And be putting it aside and to come together for them to do something that they have to do for themselves.
So it means that we must be provided with some sort of triggers to make us think
right from early years. We must be allowed we must be allowed to be creative. We must be allowed to make mistakes and correct some of our mistakes along the line.
But in our part, even though we have creative subjects, like during our days it used to be pre-technical skills and life skills and pre-vocational skills, and I'm here now it is BDT, basic design and technology and what have you. But assuming that you get to draw an arc wrongly or you get it wrong, the way they'll beat you.
But the point
you see the teacher alone and you even finished.
But you realize that, first of all, I like to talk about these creative subjects that you mentioned. There is no subject as creative subject. Every subject is creative. There's creativity in every subject.
So there's creativity
said,
in math.
Creative writing. I'm saying, why are you calling it creative writing? Writing is meant to be creative anyway.
Nothing.
There's creativity in mathematics.
In English.
There's creativity in everything you do. There's creativity in everything. So in Ghana, not the whole country, but some of us have isolated creativity here and mathematics there and dance here. And but you can be creative in different
We have
things.
had instances where if an individual decides that I am going to read a particular subject that probably is known to be creative, up against somebody who says I'm going to read science, some sort of priority is given to that person who says, I'm going to read a science program or a science subject. And I find it a bit problematic.
Who is Einstein? If we look at his background, all the inventors, they were artists. We make people think that if you're talented when it comes to art or dance, then you're not intelligent. But the point is, quite a number of people who are artistic, they like to see the whole picture. They learn differently. Because we don't know how to teach them, then we brand them into one corner, and then they end up feeling a strict, rigorous, what I call a rigorous WAEC exams, and then they pack themselves somewhere, then they find themselves useless, then they struggle in life to gain their confidence back and become somebody, and some of them remain useless. And that's how our system sometimes sets our people to fail. Because I thought I was a failure. Until I went to the UK and I'm like, oh, there are different pathways. You can even finish university and say, finish sixth form and say, I don't want to do university. I'm going to do apprenticeship.
Okay.
And you get a job. You can actually finish sixth form and say, I don't want to do, I want to just go and work.
And it's possible.
I want to go into carpentry, and the kind of carpentry you go into, the money you are going to make. Today I was telling my painters that, do you know how much money people make when they paint? And there are different ways and creative ways in painting that you have to be intelligent. You have to be mathematical. You got to read. You have to be artistic. So being creative is not necessarily being artistic, because we can have a creative system in place. It doesn't mean being artistic.
Okay.
So that's a mistake that we've made. We have misconceptions with understanding what is creativity.
All right. So let's quickly look at the WAEC examination and the West Africa Examination Council and the WASSCE exams that our senior high schools here in Ghana write. And even at the basic level, there's BECE. Now, for about a decade, in fact, the success rate keeps reducing for our students. The recent one that came, the results that came, was nothing to write home about. A lot of them failed. In fact, so many of them failed.
Yeah.
They failed the four main subjects that is required for them to move to the next level.
Yeah.
So English, math, science. Talk about it. I want us to look at it. Is it a matter of we not having the right system, or is it that we are getting it wrong? As
we're getting it wrong? It's a matter of we not having the right system in place as well. I was opportune to see the results years back for a particular community in the Volta region, and I was so disappointed. So what would be the future of these young boys and girls that they have failed mathematics woefully, they have failed English woefully? Then I ask questions like, when they write the WAEC and results are given to schools, is there any analysis that WAEC does and gives to schools? Because Cambridge does that.
Okay.
Cambridge will do analysis and say 20% of the children got this mark.
So normally we get the
percentage.
statistics, but then we don't really get to know of what actually brought up that. Who is it a matter of they not getting the right answers or the understanding to?
So when you get a statistic, this is what we do. When you get the statistics, you know that, in fact, this goes before the exam. Within the school, where you are teaching them right from the beginning, you've done an initial assessment. You want to know how many of them are above, how many of them are at the expected level, how many of them are below, who exactly, maybe one or two is far below. Okay. Then interventions kick in within the school. It's not kind of interventions where the parents come and pay extra money. Remember, the government schools, quite a number of the parents don't have much, unlike the British curriculum schools. Do you understand? Which is very expensive. So it has to be free.
And
interventions
now
has to be free.
Even education from basic to senior high school is even free in the country.
It's not totally free. Because in the UK, education is free. Okay. But it's not fully free because I have to buy uniforms, I have to give them food, I have to buy certain books. There's stuff that I have to pay for. But even though the school fees is free.
In our part, government provides for them, under the school feeding program, there is that form of free food for them. So one would have expected that beyond, the doings of all that the government is doing, they should pass their exam.
It's the teaching. When children fail, it's the teachers. Teachers are to be blamed.
You don't think it's the student?
No, it's the teaching.
I am asking this question.
That's why we're there as teachers, to teach them.
Good. I'm asking this question because in recent times, before they started writing their exams, in fact, even some of them had written about 2 papers and they took to the media, and you could see them on TikTok and the social media handles, and they were making a lot of assertions. Yeah, baby, we are school. We are done with school. Expect us. We are. You understand? We are coming. Some were even saying we are coming after your husband.
Yeah, they will come after your husbands. Because they can only work with what is between there. I don't want to say it.
Anyway, so
because all of them, they've not learned anything.
And that was what was the trend. And it looks as though it's becoming worrying. And for me, one thing strikes me anytime I see such videos. I look beyond the behavior of the student and I ask myself, could it be that we are missing the catalyst? Could the catalyst be technology? Now these students are moving onto technology. They are, in fact,
everywhere.
It is everywhere.
In the whole world. We are all moving.
And they go to the classrooms.
Moved, not moving. We
exactly. They go to the classrooms and then they sit down and all they see is books, paperwork, and they get tired of it. In fact, some classrooms still have blackboards and chalks.
Yes.
Could that be a factor?
You know what? I won't say that is a factor or it is a factor. Regardless, you say poverty is not an excuse for not being successful. They take that as a soundbite. Poverty is not an excuse for not being successful. So what I mean is, if you have a blackboard with a chalk, it doesn't mean learning cannot take place.
Okay.
If the children have not seen computers before, it doesn't mean they can't know about computers. Because eventually they will come into contact with computers. Do you understand?
Yeah.
We can use things around us to teach critical thinking, to teach common sense, to be creative, to be innovative. We can use things because the thing is that as a country, we're not really there yet like Britain or like UK.
Yes.
You understand? So what we have, we make do with it. Well, we teach you in a way that when you leave your comfort zone, and you go elsewhere, there is something they call train. There is something they call a train system and how it works. Because you're teaching them. That is internationalism. So that's why I'm saying that for these students not doing well is one, from our teacher training colleges or our universities, how the teachers are being trained. Two, how the teachers are teaching these children. Three, as a school, do you have a governing system in place where you store data? You are driven by data, where you can see that when we did this pupil progress as analysis for this exam, not WAEC, this is class exam.
Exams.
How many of them are high flyers, are above? How many of them are expected? How many of them are below? What are we going to do for them? Why are they there? Is it that this one is struggling with mathematics? How do we build interventions within the school? How do we change that timetable? How do we change our style of teaching? What can we bring in? How can we engage the children's interest?
Okay, so then basically, I was even about to ask that question, but it looks like you have already taken us there. So let's look at what Ghana as a country can do, especially GES can do, the Education Ministry can do, if it means that we adapt some of the methodologies and pedagogy. Yes, you mentioned the ones that belong to the British curriculum into ours, and to see to it that our students who come out are smart, brilliant, and can also pass these exams, because it looks as though now everything is based on the paper. You must pass the exams before you move on. So what are some of the things we can do?
Pedagogy is pedagogy, and well, it can be tied to cultural backgrounds as well. I went into UK into a classroom, a year 4 classroom. I didn't have any experience because I've been a Sunday school teacher in Ghana before, Youth for Christ and stuff like that. So, and I've went at this school, Marian Preparatory School in Tema before. I learned a bit of how to play with children.
Okay.
So I walk into this class, white children, a few black children. I say, hello, my name is Franklin Ajite. I've come from Ghana to teach you today. I'm going to tell you a story. a story about an old wicked witch with long flabby ears that touches the ground and it makes the sound putumpa epitimpa. That's from Ghana.
Yeah, and that's the sound of a drum.
Yes,
a djembe drum.
That's it. So I'm using my authenticity, what I know from Ghana, my innate, to engage the children. They were like, wow, that's something different. And the children were listening. And I said, I have a Ghanaian accent. If I speak and you don't understand, please put your hand up and I'll repeat myself. I'll explain to you. I told them the story. And, whilst I'm telling the story, I am teaching them songs to engage them. So I say, when I say Cheche Kule, say Cheche Kofisa. When I say Kofi, Pipna, say Nana. If I say C, repeat after me. I taught them how to clap. I said, don't clap like that. Just clap.
Like the way we do here.
Yes. Or when we're doing harvest at the Anglican church, they do boom, 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 pa, pa, pa. I took it to the classroom and I was able to engage these children. This is a class that when every teacher comes in as a supply teacher, by 10 o'clock, they've taken their bag and left the school. Because the children are horrible. The school is in Peckham.
Wow.
Peckham, I don't know how to describe it, but they are children from broken homes, children who are not raised properly. So they'll swear at you as a teacher. They will insult you. You have to make them learn.
They'll go free.
What are you going to do to them? Beat them? You can't do that.
Not here, not here
so
Ghana,
to avoid that, you need to engage them. You need to engage. You need to look at their interests, what they will find interesting to learn. The learning must be enjoyable. And I didn't know, I was just being my Ghana person, because I went to UK. I didn't go to be a Jamaican. I went, see me, I am Ghana. If you don't like me, so be it. I can't change myself. So I went into the class as a Ghanaian teacher, and I was able to engage the children. And every time the head teacher would come and peep,
so you're doing something.
They achieve you won't say me a proper teacher. They've seen that I'm not a proper teacher.
Just because of what you're doing?
Because I'm doing, because that's not how they were teaching us in Ghana. So for me, I said, let me do Sunday school and go home. I will just get my 100 and something pounds. If they don't call me again, so be it, no problem. I'm coming to Ghana to work. I wasn't eager to live in the UK. But to cut a long story short, at the end of the day, the head teacher called me to her office and said, why are you still in the classroom? You haven't left yet. And I said, I'm tidying up and marking the children's work. And she said, oh, wow. Supply teacher, do you like teaching? And I lied and I said, yes. I said, come to my office for an interview. I'd like to give you the job. I'm like, as a teacher, yay. I don't know how to teach, but I'll try. But I said to myself, let me go in there. Okay. Do you know what she said to me? That class is the first time that class have ever learned and done some work and gone home without fight.
Wow.
That was the first time.
It is evident that the style and the strategy you used over there.
Because I gave the children, I didn't even know what behavior policy meant. I didn't even know the school's behavior policy. But I went in there with that creativity. I have a background in art.
Okay.
Then I read physics, chemistry, biology, sixth form.
Wow.
Then I did international business, MBA, so economics, strategic management, all those, I've done them. So going into classroom and with my drumming and dancing, because I used to do drumming and dancing when I was at UST.
Okay. Ken UST?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I used to be the president of the UST dance ensemble.
I'm sure our viewers who are Ken UST students and graduates may be hailing you somewhere.
Yeah, they should be proud of me because I'm one of them, So with my art background, I took everything into classroom. You understand? And just applied it naturally, because from KNUST, the art course, the BA art course I did, teaches us to understand art and how it relates to everything around you, and that was a very good one. Okay. So that took me to be one of the best teachers in the school.
So then it's obvious that it's not the curriculum. It's
not the curriculum.
It's the way we teach.
It's the way we teach. Our understanding, because you see, pedagogy that will work for me might not work for you.
Certainly.
You understand? So you just need to understand how to bring your pedagogy into the classroom. For instance, if you become a teacher, remember you are in the media space.
Okay.
So this can be a form of English language lesson where children do research and then interview each other, hold seminars, and it's on TV, it's on radio.
Certainly.
Because they know they're going on radio, naturally, they want to do it because they know it's real.
It's real.
People are going to listen. So they find it exciting.
Okay.
You understand?
So basically, we need to find the things, we need to use the things around us.
Things around us and what will interest children. I read a book.
Okay.
The title is A Child Called It. It's a child who has been abused by his mother. Okay, in the UK. And when I read it to the children, they were very emotional. And they said to me the following day when they came to me, they said, "Sir, can we have an awareness event where we can create awareness in the environment that it doesn't matter your background. You can be who you want to be." Now, like, hi, that's a sound bite. Okay, we'll do that. But you know, I'm not a head teacher. So you need to write a letter to the head teacher and let the head teacher approve it. Then we can do this program because we have a year 6 class. And these year 6 students are going to write the SAT exams. So it's not a joking class. Do you know that these children sat down? I didn't teach them how to write a persuasive letter. They wrote it. And they wrote the best letter ever.
Because they were eager to convince the stakeholders to do what
and they work in groups.
Okay.
I didn't even understand that group work is very good.
Okay.
They work in groups, and I saw everybody busy, and I could hear their talk like, no, that's not formal language. Change it. That's not formal. That's formal. That's not persuasive. That won't persuade. That's like you're authorizing. So I'm listening to them, and they wrote the letter, and I took it to the head teacher. She said, "Yes, do it." So we changed the whole curriculum. We call it PKTS, Project Know Thyself, because the children asked me to call it Know Yourself. So I said, let's make it Know Thyself with my biblical background.
Yeah.
So I now made it Project Know Thyself. And we planned around it. Do you know that these children in Peckham who will never, who find it hard to attend, classes, school. So all the time our attendance and punctuality is very low. When we started that project where when you come to the class, there's this computer table, this history table, this math table, choose where you want to go. It's a bit like Montessori. Yeah. But you see, you can only do that when you are a trained teacher. You understand how to, the skills that the children have to learn. The children found the learning so interesting that they are coming up with things. They were involved in planning. Some of them, it became like a project-based teaching and learning where they had to go and research,
and they were even involved,
and come and teach. I wasn't teaching again. I became a facilitator.
Surprisingly, this style of teaching is not found at a basic level. But we normally see this when you climb the apex of education here in the country.
Yes.
Like in the university where you have project works, you go out, you do
and it's interesting.
And it's interesting.
Yes.
And there's group work, there's group
Fantastic.
assignment.
We don't do that in the primary. Now they're doing it, but we don't usually do that in the primary and secondary. And I wonder why.
So, but do you think, or do you recommend that we should take those things back down there and probably train the teachers?
Schools are doing them. Most of these primary international schools, secondary international schools, they are doing them.
And the greater chunk of our students are in the public basic
Exactly.
schools.
That's why I said, okay, so what has to be done is people like us, there are more of us, and even better than me in Ghana here. Okay, who didn't even go and study abroad. They are here, and they are very creative. They've learned a lot. And there are more of me who are in the UK who have come here, and there are more of me who are in the UK as well ready to come. It's people like us, they need to gather us to work with the team here.
Okay.
Not go and bring their friend or somebody who has done education in the UK, because they may not be that transformational person.
That's true.
And come and do a curriculum and then chop money, and then they are gone.
True.
Because you see, when they do their curriculum policy meetings, of course, there's some money that government gives. So we all go and sit there, they'll talk, and they get the money, they are gone. Now, when the curriculum is done, who implements the curriculum? What's the implementation plan?
In these days, the Teachers Association has become a political tool that most of the politicians use because they know the teachers have got a voice.
For politicians, they will use whatever tool is available. But for us as teachers, to be a teacher, you must have a calling. You must have passion. 2 things. My project, Know Thyself book, Know Thyself book talks about it. Passion and calling. If you don't have these 2, please go and sit down. If you read Abraham Lincoln's letter to his son's teacher, you will know who a teacher is. So if you don't have those qualities, please, it's either you passion yourself. That's what I say. Passion yourself or pack yourself. Because if you are not called, call yourself. And read. Because there are theories surrounding how to teach.
Okay. That's very fair. Just before we go, I remember one old teacher of mine, and I remember him not for what he taught me in the class, but for the extra things that
He did.
Exactly, like he was always with the cultural troupe, he was always with the drama group, and even when it came to sports, the same man would be there, be like, let them go and play. On a Friday, we are tired of the class. We want to go.
Get
we
out
want
and
to
do
step
something.
out, and then the maths teacher will come at that 1 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Hot Friday afternoon.
Who learns mathematics at 1 p.m.?
And we are there, and this man will just be outside, be observing. After a while, when it is his time to come and teach, he comes in and says, "You don't have to be in the classroom. Just step out."
Let's get out.
Then we just step out. Sometimes we go, and all that we are going to do is that, I know you don't know how to drum. Just go and play. Learn how to drum. And those things, for me, are stuck with me.
Yeah,
till
because
now.
the music forms an integral part of a brain development.
Exactly. And I can tell even till now, music has not left me. The cultural thing has not left me. Like
It hasn't
the
left
sports
me
thing
too.
has not left me. So I'm beginning to think that these are some of the things that we need to put into our education.
But you see, the
system.
cultural dance and the music, the sports, which is football, whatever, there's mathematics in it.
Certainly.
There's English in it.
Because I remember you have to calculate if you are playing
Of
the drum,
course.
you are hitting here twice.
Boom, boom,
then-
boom,
then-
boom, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's all mathematics.
So we could use these
I,
things.
I use drumming in teaching times table. I use the Wari game in teaching times table because it's in 4. So we do the
Yeah.
4 times table. Then I use doubling and halving.
That's very
There are
true.
some strategies within the curriculum progression. That's one you have to be a teacher to understand it, which our teachers are not being taught. So they don't understand curriculum progression. Because you see, when it comes to mathematics, I'm not a mathematics guru from university. However, if your child is not able to do division, I know why. I can diagnose why. Looking at their calculation. Now, one of the reasons may be subtraction.
Okay.
Because they don't have a good understanding of subtraction. It will be a problem.
So practically, how would we use the game of Owari to learn multiplication?
Because
and all that?
Owari comes in 4. You could put a 5. You could put a 6 if you want to. And as you move it, it's 6 here, 6 there.
Yeah.
So the 12 times table, the times table, we end it on 12, isn't it?
Certainly.
So 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, 12, 24.
Yeah.
So as you count them, as you move them, you need to start thinking, how many steps am I moving? How many 4s here will give me this number? How many 4s will land there?
So then you have to even decide, do I
You
pick
need
the
to-
first one or do I pick the
you
second
need to
one?
be thinking
And that's
like
a very
that.
smart way of teaching
So we are
mathematics.
playing, but we are learning, and we call it guided mathematics.
Okay.
Where we play with objects and we learn the mathematics within that play.
Wow.
So it's a purposeful
But
play.
unfortunately, in our part of the world, in our country, let me be specific. In Ghana, that style is seen as recreational activity and not an integral part of our education system.
I think they see the stuff, but they don't know how. That's the gap. They don't know how to use it to teach or to get the purpose of
Because
teaching out of it.
I have experienced a situation where we stepped out to go and do sport and then we're beaten. No, we come back and our teachers will whip us.
Because maybe you didn't go at the right time.
Well, that could be a factor.
You didn't go at the right
but
time.
sometimes you ask yourself, there will be the same people to say, okay, it's break time, step out. Sometimes even when it is on Fridays, normally on Fridays, it is allowed that we step out and play after a particular period of time. But you find a particular teacher who would say, today,
I'm
this
teaching.
particular class, you are not going, I'm teaching.
Yeah, because they use teaching as a punitive, like a punishment
Exactly.
tool.
And it becomes...
So, for instance, if you do something wrong, they'll say, go and write lines. So writing becomes like a punishment to you. But you can't do that. If there's PE time, you can't punish children with PE or music because they love it. But that's a subject.
Yeah.
So you can't punish children with
And
it.
I think it's just because we have not seen it as such. We've seen
We
it
don't
as...
understand it.
We've seen it as, when there's time, then you go and do it.
The teachers are the drivers. The universities are also the major drivers. So if the universities are training teachers, churning them out with all these creative ideas, this will change.
Okay.
Because you see, when I went to the Institute of Education, one of the best in the world, though, under University of London, the way they will rock you, when I thought I was creative, we had a seminar, and everybody that spoke referred to me. So me, I sat there feeling good, like, hey, everybody. As Franklin said, when it got to my presentation, I failed woefully. Why? Because the creativity is here, and the theory is here, the practical is here. I didn't weave it.
Okay.
Because it is from my theory, I will try something out. And then what happened, I will analyze it, because it's like a scientific process. Scientific inquiry.
All right.
I will analyze it and then say, how did it go? What made it work? WWW. What went well? Even better if. So that I change it and then go back and then keep tracking it like that. If you don't do that, then that's not what they're looking for.
The conversation is getting more interesting, but we are running out of time. It looks as
have a part two.
Yes, certainly. We'll come back to this. But before you go, we cannot go without talking about your father a little bit, if that's fine with you. Anyway, by way of giving you the information, he is the son of the former Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honourable Speaker, the late Right Honourable Speaker, Peter Ala Adjetey. I think he served between the period of from 2001 to 2005. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes. And let's talk briefly about your father. I mean, having to serve as a political leader, I mean, a politician and a lawyer in this country. He was one person that a lot of the young ones looked up to. He became a pinnacle of hope when it comes to legislation in this country, to the point that whenever decisions were made in the House of Parliament, everybody was waiting for the speaker to talk. So briefly about your dad, what do you remember? I mean,
I remember a lot, but I like his love for learning, his love for learning, and his character, his attitude towards work. You know, the ethics he has about his work and the passion was just too strong, you know, and I really admired him for that. How he dresses for work, how he shows up for work, he's carrying all his books, he's doing references, he will correct you, you know, he's a strong person at heart, you know, he doesn't give up, and that's what I like about him. And what he said to me some time ago, he said, until you can't do anything, you can't walk, please don't absent yourself for work or school. You don't say, you have a headache, take paracetamol and go. You got stomachache, so what? Take it and then go to the hospital later. Find it. Don't skip.
And I'm sure that has stayed with you.
Yeah, that has stayed with me, and he was very strict and very firm. But I respect him so much because
I find it interesting that you did not end up in the political space, but you chose to teach and raise leaders, raise people. Why was that?
Well, because I just allowed myself. You know, he wanted me to be a doctor. So he pushed me at Accra Academy to go into physics, chemistry, biology. And it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me, especially physics, that subject. It is when I went to UK, I thought, I should have forced my father to enroll me at a private school, LVS Ascot. In the UK, I would have been a doctor, because the way they would teach you. Our physics teachers, they come and scribble something on the board and then they're gone. And you're like, all you know is density is equal to what mass.
Examinations will come up and all that we are thinking about is the formulas.
You know, but my teacher said to me, Franklin, you are literature, you are artistic, you are dance. These are the things you should do. Geography, you would do very well. But my father wouldn't allow me. So it's after A-level, I decided to rebel and take art, because now I didn't have time. And I want to enter the university. And KN University would take one A-level art, and then another A-level. If you got 2 A-level passes with general paper, you can enter College of Art. So I had biology, I'd passed biology. Then I went to Tamasco to do extramural with art. 6 months I got a B. You know, so biology, art, and so general paper.
It was obvious that the arts was a passion. Anyway,
I didn't know that art was a passion. It was, you know, that's why you have to try different things. So when I went to College of Art, I realized I love it. But I went to metal products design. So I was doing metals. You know, everything to do with jewelry and stuff like that. Even at that point, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. Then I went to UK to study MBA International Business. I still didn't know what I wanted to do until I bumped into teaching.
That's very wonderful.
So I just bumped it. Not that I wanted to be a teacher. It's
you
accidental. I found
there.
myself there and I've fallen in love with it.
Okay. All right. Anyway, we have to go.
Thank you.
Even though the conversation has become very interesting. But the last thing in just a couple of seconds, one political thing that, you saw your father do, or decision or something that happened around, your father politically that really got to you.
This man showed me, I came from London, and they picked me up from the airport. And I thought, he sent them from the parliament to pick me up. I will get a car. So I came and walked through the parliament. Every day, yes, sir. So I said, hey, Daddy, can I have a car to move? And I said, be me car. You're asking me for a car. You want me to steal a car for you?
Wow.
I don't have a car for you. Get out.
Even when he was a speaker?
Yes, and then in the night, there was my flight was in like early morning. So I said, get them to come and pick me up at, whose son or daughter should come and pick up around that time? Find your way to the airport.
Wow.
It's like, hey, this man is wicked though.
Wow.
But I learned. I learned how to be loyal, how to hold my integrity, because I work as a consultant. I also work as a principal, head of schools, how not to joke with work ethics.
Okay.
And take what doesn't belong to me and waste other people's time. I learned a lot from that.
Okay.
So fairness is something that guides me.
Certainly. Anyway, your final words before we leave.
Well, my final words, because we talked about education, I want to plead with the people in authority, with our ministers, our Minister of Education, Honorable, that, let's look into our universities, how these teachers are trained. Grab some of us. There's so many of us in the system who are ready to help, not because of money, to help, even if it is for free. We are ready. Get us.
Is that all?
We're ready to work. Right. We are ready to train teachers for free. We're ready to do loads of stuff for Ghana. Because we are Ghanaians. It's the only country we have. We don't have anything.
Certainly.
So we are ready to help.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for honoring our invitation. In fact, it's been a wonderful conversation, and we look forward to having more. If there's a chance to have a part 2, we'll do so.
Yes.
And we'll continue to inform policymakers on what to do, what to expect, and we'll critique them if they don't get it right. Certainly. Anyway, viewers, unfortunately for us, this is where we have to draw the curtains down on today's episode of the National Agenda. You see, anytime I get on the show and I'm about to leave, I tell you that let's get interactive on all our social media platforms. And you know why? I want you to inform me of some of the things that I may be missing. And that is basically because if you tell me, I may get the right person to get on the set for us to talk about it. Today, our guest, Mr. Franklin Adjetey, has done us the honors by, helping us delve deep into all the matters that, brought the concerns, you understand. The just ended WASSCE result was nothing to write home about. Today, we've seen some of the reasons. We have seen why people are failing the exams. So please, I'm making this clarion call to you again. Let's get interactive. Tell me what you think. Okay, you can add your voice to the conversation we just had. And one of these days, I always say, your opinion will be aired on the show. Anyway, this has been the National Agenda, and my name continues to be Samuel Ofobi Bamford. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. See you in the next episode.